Welcome to this week's episode of Fan Fatales. I'm Emma.
And I'm Gabby, and this week we're continuing with our Halloween Spooktacular, and we're reviewing some modern horror/thriller flicks, and by modern we mean movies that were made in the last 5 years.
Yes, and so the movies that we are going to be talking about today are Ready or Not, A Quiet Place, Dr. Sleep, and Mother.
Yep, and we're going to be talking about our opinions on all these movies, so as for the last 2 episodes, spoilers are up ahead.
Yes, so shall we get started?
Yes, I'm so excited for this episode.
I
I
am
liked
too.
a lot more of these than I thought I would.
Same, honestly, because both Gabby and I are both not real big spooky movie people. Scary movies. Especially with ghosts.
Oh,
Or like
no
dolls
ghosts
or anything.
Yeah.
So that's why none of them have like creepy dolls, creepy ghosts, creepy... No.
That's why, those ones, we were like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No The Conjuring, no Insidious, none of those.
No Annabelle.
No Annabelle, no Chucky, no Paranormal Activity. Oh my gosh, I think I would lose my brain.
When I was watching Mother, I kept on getting ads for Chucky, and I was like, no, stop doing this to me.
No, I hate Chucky. I used to have like nightmares as a kid, like
Same.
when it was like, I think it was like one of the reboots of Chucky came out like in like
I
the
mean,
late
there's
2000s.
been so many.
I know. There was like a reboot, but the ad was on TV all the time, at least here in California. I'm not sure about over there. But
I
like
don't even
here,
remember.
it was on all the time, and I used to have nightmares of like Chucky dragging me down my stairs in my childhood home. Yeah, it was intense.
No.
Like,
No.
Yeah, like vivid nightmares.
You see, whereas like I remember, well, we'll get into it next week, but I remember watching Halloween a lot, like growing up. That was just always on, because that's my dad's favorite franchise. Like, the day that we're recording it is the day that the new Halloween movie came out. My dad saw the midnight premiere.
Good for him.
Last night.
Honestly, good for him.
Yes.
I love that for him.
It's his favorite franchise of all time. Of course he's going to do that.
That's fair.
So shall we get started?
Yeah, so really quick before we do, I know we've already done this twice, but I am wearing my favorite t-shirt of all time, and it's my t-shirt that says all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, and that's a reference to The Shining.
Yes.
And we're going to be talking about the sequel today. I have another outfit for next week.
Okay.
That's so good. But this week I was
I'm
gonna
not
wear my
wearing
Shining
anything
t-shirt.
Scary, spooky. I'm wearing black shirt with flowers on it.
Yep. And I'm drinking some peach juice out of my jack-o'-lantern mug once again.
And I did not grab a drink. I literally just finished a giant pumpkin spice coffee, though. So...
Okay, pumpkin spice coffee, close enough.
We are wired. It is 4:00 p.m.
Emma, you're not supposed to drink caffeine this late.
It's fine.
Okay. So the first movie we're going to cover today is Ready or Not.
Yes.
And when I first saw the ads for this movie, I desperately wanted to see it. And I wasn't even into horror films when this movie came out. Well, I kind of was, but not super.
Okay.
I was not really into it. I was just barely starting to get into it in 2019, which is when this movie came out. And I so wanted to see this movie. And I'm so glad I did, because I love this movie.
Yes.
It's so good.
I really liked it. So the synopsis is, Grace couldn't be happier after she marries the man of her dreams at his family's luxurious estate. There's just one catch. She must now hide from midnight until dawn while her new in-laws hunt her down with guns, crossbows, and other weapons. As Grace desperately tries to survive the night, she soon finds a way to turn the tables on her not-so-lovable relatives.
Yeah. It was directed by Matt Bettinelli.
Yeah.
I think.
Bettinelli.
Matt Bettinelli
Alpin, yeah.
And Tyler Gillett. Mm-hmm. And it came out in 2019, as I had mentioned. And the cast includes Samara Weaving as Grace DeLomas, Adam Brody as Daniel DeLomas. Okay. All of the characters have the last name DeLomas, except for the last one. We'll get there. Okay. So Adam Brody as Daniel, Andy McDowell as Becky, Mark O'Brien as Alex, Henry Czerny as Tony, Melanie Scrofano as Emily, Elsie Levinsky as Charity, Nikki Guadagni? Guadagnini?
Guadagnini?
I have no idea. Guadagnini? Okay, I'm so sorry. As Helene. And Kristen Brunn as Fitch Bradley.
Yes.
Sorry, Christian Brunn as Fitch Bradley.
Yeah, I would have read that as Kristen as well.
Isn't that annoying? His name is Christian, but it's spelt almost identically to Kristen.
Kristian.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one letter off from my best friend whose name is Kristen.
Yeah. I think it's like the German spelling, maybe?
I think so.
Like, it's a European way of spelling it, but yeah.
So some fun facts about this movie are 17 different versions of Grace's wedding dress were created by costume designer Avery Blues to show the progress of Grace's night and how her clothes correspond to her attitude.
And I think that's so cool.
I do too. It's kind of like, have you seen In the Heights yet? It's been like 5 months.
No, I refuse.
Okay.
I'm worried it's going to ruin it for me.
What?
I'm worried it's going to get ruined for me. Now I don't want to watch it.
Well, there's one thing that I think they did really well, and it's Nina. They tell her story through her hair.
Through her hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about this already.
Yeah. So it kind of reminds me of that, where she comes back from Stanford at the beginning of the movie, and her hair is, like, straight. Mm-hmm. And then when she goes to the salon, it starts to, like, right before she goes to the salon, it starts to get more and more back to, like, her natural hair. And then after the salon, through the rest of the movie, it's her natural hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just think it's really interesting because there are so many, going back to Ready or Not, there are so many different elements to this dress, and there's so many different variations on the dress. Like, the first change we see is at the very beginning when, what's his name? What's the husband? Alex. When Alex finds Grace and she's in the, like, service, like, quarters, like the service hallways, and, okay, when he grabbed her from behind, that scared the poop out of me. Like, that was, like, the one jump scare that really got me. But he grabs her and pulls her into the service hallway, and she's, like, starting to, like, do this, like, badass walk. And she keeps tripping over the dress because she's in her sneakers, and I'm like, heck yes. Okay, first of all, wedding dress and sneakers is a move. It's a vibe.
There's this one person on TikTok who I'm following, and tomorrow is her wedding, and she's changing into sneakers for her reception.
I would totally do that.
Same.
I would wear cute shoes for the ceremony,
and
then
pictures.
As soon as the reception hits, and pictures, of course. And then as soon as, like, the reception hits, sneakers, my dude. Sneakers.
But they're like sparkly sneakers. I'll have to send you a picture of her sneakers.
Yes, 100% yes. So it was such a move, and she's sitting there, and she's like, I can't freaking walk in this dress. So she sits down, and she just starts ripping it at the bottom, and it does this amazing, like, asymmetrical high-low thing, and it is amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. So, like, I would definitely cosplay that dress with, like, the sash of guns.
I think that bullets. Was literally a comment of mine. Hold on. Yes, the Grace with the gun and the ripped dress would be a really cool Halloween costume. Is literally one of my notes.
Right? Okay. I think that would be dope. Maybe, like, if you want to get into, like, a little bit later in the film, or, like, make it just, like, a little more gory, like, splatter a little bit of blood, or, like, add a little bit of dirt and a little bit more distressing. But it is such a good vibe.
I'm sorry. I'm just laughing because we wrote the same note for one specific moment.
Where?
It's the very end when they all start exploding. You wrote, OMG, she just exploded. And I wrote, she just exploded? And then the little,
underneath.
Like, they all exploded.
Yeah, the exact same note. It's we're getting out of order though. But yes, that is very funny. I love that my note for I literally wrote, OMG, when the husband grabbed her, I nearly shit my pants. Like, that is my note exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah. And then, okay, after that, they're like, the family is in that one room, and they, like, shoot the maid. And they're just so nonchalant about just moving the body. They're like, just get it out of here.
And they're like, okay, let's not let Grace see this dead body, because then she'll catch on. But they let her see the trail of blood.
Yeah, you don't think she'd see this giant trail of blood? Like, what? I think what this movie does really well is it mixes comedy with horror, which I love.
Yeah.
I think the comedy is so needed, you know?
Yeah. Also, one of my notes, and I still have this question, is how did her father-in-law choose all the weapons for each person?
I don't know. I think they were just like, here, give him. I don't think he chose. I think he just gave them to whoever was standing there, just convenient.
True. Oh, no.
Plus, did you notice that the women, that the mom had the bow and arrow, and I was like, okay, Katniss Everdeen moment, okay.
Or Susan Pevensey. She was first.
Or Susan Pevensey, yes. Okay, fine. And then,
hey,
and
we
then
have Katniss Everdeen later in these.
Yeah. And then I love when he gives the son-in-law the crossbow. And he's sitting on the toilet watching the YouTube video to figure out how to work the crossbow, which brings us to our second fun fact, which is that the film's... Go ahead.
No, you can go.
Okay, which brings us to our second fun fact, which is that the film's writers, Guy Busick and Ryan Murphy, were in that video. They were the video of the how to use your crossbow.
That's so fun.
Oh my gosh. I almost peed my pants. I was laughing so hard.
I did too. I think he's my second favorite character. That guy.
Yeah. I agree.
And then our final fun fact for this movie is, as Grace walks to the music room, she pauses to see the family's older board games displayed. The name of the games combined tell the entire story of the following night. Family Ritual, Secret Council, LaBelle's Gambit, Sunrise, Fortune Teller, and Public Defendant.
Which I think is really cool foreshadowing.
Speaking of the games,
yes,
they mentioned Old Maid at one point, and I was like, I think I've played it once. I literally was I think so.
From what I remember, it's like a game where you hold up your cards and you like pull the cards from somebody else's deck, and if you
want them to take Old Maid from your hand.
Yeah. And then you have to it's kind of like Uno, I think, where you have a card up in the middle and you have to put a card down.
Yeah.
And I think the person with the Old Maid at the end loses?
Yes.
I think. I haven't played that game since I was a little kid.
Yeah, Old Maid. If you have Old Maid at the end, you lose the game.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Does that mean in this world, if you have the Old Maid at the end, you die?
Probably.
Well, they said that the only one that's bad is hide and seek. So I think that's
Speaking of which, her husband's face. What's his name? Daniel?
Alex?
No,
Daniel is the brother.
Yeah, Alex. He's just like, oh shit. When she says, hide and seek.
Yeah, literally everybody's faces are like, yay! And then as soon as she pulls it, it's blank.
Yeah.
Also, okay, I love the moment when Daniel is talking to his wife, and his wife is like, she's not one of us. And he's like, of course not, dear. She has a soul.
Yes.
The savagery. I was like, okay, Daniel.
At one point I wrote, maybe don't give the sister a weapon. I think it was the one that kept on killing everyone I'm talking to.
The one that was high?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the bride looks like Carrie in her wedding dress at the end of the movie.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
So, I have to ask, who is your favorite character?
Grace.
Duh.
Duh.
She's the best character in the whole movie.
Yeah. Sorry, one of my friends just texted.
Same. Zach just texted me.
It's my friend who's borrowing my heels this weekend. She just asked if I have a spare backpack.
Oh.
So I was asking for, like, a big or small one.
That's fair. So, yeah, I think Grace is, like, the absolute best character in this whole movie. Absolutely my favorite. 100%. Will cosplay her.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, okay, you know that moment when, like, Grace is at, like, the beginning of the movie when she's talking to Alex's mom?
Yes.
And she's like, oh, well, I was like you once, and, like, you remind me a lot of me, and, like, this is, like, I want to know what her story was. What is her backstory?
I know.
Like,
what is her backstory?
I don't know, and they never explain it. I would have loved to know what her backstory is.
Can we get a prequel with her?
Please? Oh, we should get a prequel. Oh my gosh, we should get a prequel.
For each one of the in-laws.
Uh-huh. Or, like, a prequel that, like, shows the stories of the in-laws, like, through flashbacks, and then, like, we see what happens exactly the night that Helene's husband was killed during hide and seek. That would have been amazing.
Yeah. She was creepy. Yeah. I did not like her.
So creepy. Like, when they're in the bedroom and she's just like...
Oh my god! I was like, excuse you.
She's just, like, creeping there, watching them, like, make out. Like, they're basically having sex, and she's, like, sitting there. And you're like, oh... I wrote 4 minutes in, and I'm already horrified. That's when they killed Helene's husband. Those masks are creepy as hell.
Yeah.
Like
the Death Eater.
Yeah. They gave me, like, Death Eater meets Phantom of the Opera vibes.
Yeah.
But, like, with a plague doctor nose.
Kid.
I don't know. It was so weird.
Also, the kid wearing it at one point.
When Daniel wore it? Or, not Daniel, Alex. It was Alex. Or was it Daniel?
Well, one of the kids was wearing it, and...
I think it was Daniel, actually. Because that's why he drinks. That's why he's an alcoholic.
No, like, they're playing around, and it's, like, right before the games. The kids are playing around, and they're wearing them.
Oh. You mean...
like
the sister's kids.
Yeah, the sister's kids.
Oh. Yeah, that's weird. And then Daniel, like, freaks out on them?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yes, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I would too, right? Also, you know what else would have made me freak the F out?
What?
When Alex was like, oh, well, if I told you what would have happened, like, if I told you what happened had you pulled that card, you would have left me. I wrote, ya think?
Exactly!
Like, duh. Anyway, moving on. I think we already talked about our favorite moment a little bit, but what is your favorite moment?
Definitely when she rips her dress and walks out with that confidence.
Yeah.
Also,
we love a confident queen moment.
I'm trying to read what I wrote.
I'm like, what are you talking about? When they realized it was all the bullshit from crazy family tradition. Huh?
I think I wrote that before they all exploded.
Oh.
And then they all exploded.
And you're like, oh!
And then I never deleted it.
Yeah, that's okay. Like,
so
okay.
I was like, wait a second, what does this mean?
Yeah. No, like, I really liked the moment where they're like, oh my gosh, this is so stupid, we're fine. And then, like, 2 seconds later, it's just like, boom! And you're like,
that's exactly what I'm talking about. Though, another favorite moment is actually, like, my last note is, I love that the response to, Jesus Christ, what happened to you, to the police officer is just in-laws.
Yeah. I also thought, okay, the moment when she's sitting on the stairs and she lights the cigarette while the house is burning behind her, does that not remind you of that scene in Heathers when at the very end, when JD's outside and he blows himself up and Veronica's sitting there smoking the cigarette?
It definitely does.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like they did that on purpose.
Oh yeah, they definitely did.
Because it's like the same. Like, Veronica's all, like, effed up. She's all covered in soot and, like, the cigarette's half, like, burned. But, like, Grace is sitting there literally slathered in blood. And she's sitting there smoking a cigarette while the house is burning behind her. I thought that was brilliant.
Same. So what's your favorite moment?
The same. I love the badass lady moment. Like like I said, we love a badass queen moment. I also really liked when they were doing the seance the ritual the first time, when Daniel poisoned the like wine or the blood or whatever it is that they drink and helped her.
Yeah, I liked that a lot.
But I loved that moment. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
I was really sad when Daniel died, when he was killed.
I was too.
I was like, no!
I liked him a lot.
I did too. I think, okay. What did I say? Oh. Pacts with the devil, real or bullshit? Oh my gosh. Okay. So, you know, when, what's his name? When Fitch first finds out about like this whole ritual and like he hears about this whole thing, he's like sitting there Googling pacts with the devil, real or bullshit. I started laughing my booty off. I thought that was so funny.
I did too. It was funny.
I like how he's like the comedic relief. I think too. This movie desperately needed that.
I think I think it would have been bad if it didn't have it.
I don't think it would have been bad. I just don't think it would have been as good. I think it would have been way too serious and way too, like, melancholy. I mean, there would still be those cool badass moments, but, like, I think the comedy really just, like, made it that much better.
Yeah. I just like the comedy in this.
Yeah, the comedy was really good.
Yeah. So what's your least favorite moment?
When they got in the accident, that, like, kind of, like, ouchie. And then, like, the dad is just, like, standing there, like, Slender Man. That was the other jump scare that got me.
Yeah, I could not watch when Grace accidentally killed Dora.
Just by, like, bashing her face in with the box.
No, isn't Dora the servant?
Oh, I thought Dora was the mom. Just kidding. Just kidding. Dora killed herself, kinda.
Kind of, but also it was kind of Grace's fault.
But it was kind of not.
I
don't know. I don't blame her. I thought you were talking about when she killed the mom.
Yeah.
That scene was also very difficult to watch.
Yeah, that also was.
Also, I gasped so effing loud when Alex betrayed Grace.
Same. That was me a lot during Mother.
But I was like, OMFG, are you kidding me? I was like, oh my god, Alex. No! I was so mad.
I was too.
Yeah, and then he exploded, so I was like, take that.
Yeah. So what would you rate this film out of 10?
10 out of 10. 100%
Same.
10 out of 10.
Yes.
This one was
we
so
really
good.
like our Halloween movies.
I guess. No, they're just really good.
Well, we've rated at least 3 now. 10 out of 10s.
I've rated quite a few 10 out of 10, and they're all Halloween films.
It was Corpse Bride, Halloween
Hocus
Town.
Pocus.
Oh, wait. Was it Hocus Pocus? No, it was Halloween Town, I think.
Halloween Town.
Hocus Pocus, Halloween, Corpse Bride, Halloween Town.
Halloween Town.
Ready or Not. Have all been 100% from the both of us.
'Cause they're good.
They are. So what about this next one?
This next one, I also rated very high. I love this movie. I have a very special connection to this movie because
I watched it for the first time last night.
Very nice. That's amazing. So for me, like, Zach and I have, like, a little tradition where on Halloween, we watch, like, a horror movie and, like, we, like, hang out on Halloween. Yeah. Well, last year, we were supposed to hand out candy, but nobody even came to the door. I brought candy and nobody came to the door, and I was, like, big sad. But anyway, I know. So we watched A Quiet Place for the first time, well, for my first time together that night. And I adore this movie. I adore this movie. I love this movie so much. So the synopsis, for those of you who haven't seen it, is if they hear you, they hunt you. A family must live in silence to avoid mysterious creatures that hunt by sound, knowing that even the slightest whisper or footstep can bring death. Evelyn and Lee are determined to find a way to protect their children while desperately searching for a way to fight back.
Yes, and the film was directed by John Krasinski. It came
Krasinski.
out... Krasinski. I cannot speak. We've known this.
John Krasinski. From The Office. Ew. I have a lot of stuff about The Office in this. We'll talk about it. Go ahead.
I've never seen The Office.
Oh my god. Okay. Go ahead.
The film came out in 2018, and the cast includes John Krasinski.
Do you want me to do it?
Yes, please do it.
Okay. So, some facts about this film. It was directed by John Krasinski. It came out in 2018, and the cast includes John Krasinski as Lee Abbott, Emily Blunt as Evelyn, Millicent Simmons as Reagan, Noah Jupe as Marcus. I was going to say Margaret, and I was like, no. And Cade Woodward as Beau.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have like some really long fun facts for this one
know.
because I know a lot about this movie. Most of my notes are fun facts too. So,
I mean, that's me with Halloween next week. Literally,
it's
half
fine.
of my facts are just like fun facts about the movie.
It's fine. So, the film's director and male lead, John Krasinski, played the creature in a motion capture suit for quite a few scenes. And during the first screening, there were a lot of clips left in that weren't like fully edited, which is usually how first screenings go.
Yeah.
Like they're not, all the CGI isn't fully there, so there's a lot of scenes on green screen or with like drawings and sketches and things like that. So like nothing's totally final. And there were scenes where it was still just got John Krasinski in the motion capture suit, and the audience just lost it. They were laughing their ass off. And John Krasinski was like, I'm worried that I made like the worst, best comedy ever. Like, so a quote from John about that screening is he said, all of a sudden my giant foot with Vans on showed up, and we were slowly panning up from my very colorful, very tight revealing suit on the end. Very tight revealing suit and end on me with a beard pretending to roar. The entire place exploded into laughter.
I love that.
Can you just imagine him standing there just being like, ah! in like a suit with like lots of little dots on it. I think
yeah.
There are pictures of it online, and if you haven't seen it, you need to Google it. It is actually the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's so funny. So,
as I look it up now.
Yeah. So, the entire film was actually shot in 36 days. That's another fun fact.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of these horror films are shot, like, in a very short time.
I feel, yeah. I don't know why, but yes, I feel that they are.
Because that's a lot of my fun facts for next week's episode, is how short a lot of them were filmed.
Yeah. Maybe it's because they don't want to, like, traumatize the actors. I have no idea.
I don't know.
Anyway, so the next one is, since the characters communicate in American Sign Language... You found the picture. Sorry, guys. Emma just looked at me and she was like, oh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. So, since the characters communicate in American Sign Language to avoid making sound, filmmakers hired deaf mentor Douglas Ridloff to teach ASL to the actors to be able to make corrections. And, let me try that again. So the next fun fact is, since the characters communicate in American Sign Language to avoid making sound, filmmakers hired deaf mentor Douglas Ridloff to teach ASL to the actors and to be able to make corrections. Millicent Simmons, who played Reagan. Right? Reagan? Yeah.
Reagan, yeah.
She's also a deaf actress, and she helped to teach the cast and crew sign language as well.
I love that.
Yeah, she was also in the movie Wonderstruck? Is that the movie? The one with the boy who's like, who has the messed up face?
I'm doing that right now. Yeah, Wonderstruck.
Okay, yeah. So she was also in the movie Wonderstruck. And the reason I know so much about this movie is because in my American Sign Language class, we watched a bunch of interviews with her, both from Wonderstruck and from this movie. And it's really, she's fantastic.
I love her.
And she's an advocate for, like, including actors with disabilities in movies that, like, portray those disabilities, which I think is fantastic.
Same.
Yeah. So the last one is that initially they were going to leave all of the American Sign Language in the film unsubtitled. They thought that the audience would understand the subtext of what was going on. Notably, the first trailer does not subtitle the signing. However, while editing the sequence where Reagan is arguing with Lee regarding the hearing aids, they decided that the sequence would have to be subtitled because people wouldn't know what was going on unless you know sign language. So because of that, all of the ASL throughout the movie was subtitled, with exception of one little part, which I will get to later.
Yeah, that scene made me sad.
Where they were fighting?
Yeah.
Yeah. It tugs on my heartstrings. There's a lot of scenes, actually, that tug on my heartstrings. Like, specifically, where did I put it? Okay. The scene where Reagan takes the plane to Bo's memorial and she's like fixed it so that way it lights up but it doesn't make this sound. Rocket. It looks like a plane, but both. Okay, whatever. Plane, rocket.
I think it's supposed to be a rocket.
But it looks like a plane. It has like the little windows on the side.
Why does it have plane or windows?
Okay, whatever. Rocket, sure.
I thought that's the whole point, because the kid got the rocket because of the drawing of the rocket.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, it just doesn't look like a rocket to me.
I can't believe that this is the conversation heading. Is whether it's a plane or a rocket.
Huh?
I will fight. Hold on. Rocket or plane?
What? Okay, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
So, okay. Whatever, I'll go back. So, like, there's this one scene specifically that, like, just, like, totally, like, crushes my heart. And it's when Reagan takes the rocket to Bo's memorial. I literally was, like, sitting there crying. Yes, I know it's a rocket. Okay, I get it. Okay,
Love
fine.
you.
But that actually was wrong because the monsters don't actually eat what they kill. They just kill them.
True.
Anyway, so let me try this again. So there's one specific scene that, like, actually, like, destroys my heart. And it's when Reagan takes the rocket to Bo's memorial. Literally, I start crying, especially with the conversation between Lee and Marcus in the background when Marcus is asking Lee, like, if he blames Reagan for Bo's death, and like, cause she does, and like they have this really sweet conversation. It actually like tears my heart into pieces.
Same.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So who's your favorite character?
I think I have to say Lee.
Okay, mine's Reagan. I love Reagan.
Reagan is great. She is great. And I haven't seen the second one yet because I'm waiting to watch it on Halloween because it's a tradition now. But I heard that she's the main character in the second one.
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. I just think Lee is such a great dad.
I do too.
I think, okay, where did I put it? The scene when he's reunited with the kids, just like at the very end, like once they were lost in the cornfield and then they were in the silo.
Yeah.
You know, after that, and they're finally reunited after all that, that actually just like, like hurts my heart so bad. Like you can feel like the relief of him like having his kids back.
Yeah.
And then the other part that just like I literally today I was sitting there crying watching this. But when Lee signs to Reagan, "I have always loved you." Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Fun fact about that.
So when I looked at Millicent Simmons, I just found out that she was just cast 3 hours ago in a film about it's called Helen and Teacher. And she's going to be playing the author in Death. Yeah. It's going to be Helen Keller. And she's going to be playing Helen Keller.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there because, you know.
I love that. If I'm not mistaken, I think she's our age.
I think so.
Or like a little bit younger than us.
Since I am literally like just on her IMDb at this point, let me just scroll up.
Speaking of Millicent, Lee signing "I Have Always Loved You" at the end was actually Millicent's idea. And when she pitched it to John Krasinski, he was like sitting there crying when he pitched it to her. He was like, absolutely, yes, we're doing that.
Yeah. She's 2 years younger than us.
Okay, there
2003 baby.
Okay, there you go. So, anyway, moving on. What's your favorite moment?
Definitely when Lee and Evelyn are dancing to the song with their headphones.
It's so really sweet. That is very sweet. Also, fun fact about that scene. It is a parallel to a very similar scene that happens between Jim and Pam in season 2, episode 7 of The Office, when they're sitting in the parking lot, well, standing in the parking lot, listening to the iPod. And I'm pretty sure that is, I think that's the Christmas party. I think that's, hold on, let me double check.
I've never seen it, so.
You have to watch it, it's so good. Oh.
I haven't had time to watch anything besides these movies.
Mood. I mean, that's a mood. Okay, wrong. I was wrong. So season 2, episode 7 of The Office is The Client, which is a great episode.
Yeah.
And there is a scene at the very end where Jim and Pam are in the parking lot listening to music on an iPod. And it's very, very, very similar to this scene with Evelyn and Lee dancing in the little thing. So I like to think that that was John Krasinski's little homage to Jenna Fisher, who plays Pam. Really quick, other fun fact, while we're talking about Jenna Fisher, her husband's name is Lee.
Oh!
And in The Office, John Krasinski and Jenna Fisher are married. So maybe that's a little thing for her too. Probably not, but I just think that's a funny little thing.
So what's your least favorite moment? Because we've already talked about mine. It's when Reagan and her dad are arguing with each other, because I just feel so bad for her.
I think that scene, and I also really don't like the scene when, well, it's not that I don't like it. It makes me sad. When Lee tells Reagan that she has to stay with her mom when the boys go out to the lake.
Yeah.
And I think for him, it's coming from a place of wanting to protect her, because while she's out there, she won't be able to hear what's going on.
Yeah.
And at least if he takes Marcus, like, he can hear what's going on. And, like, they have that whole scene by the river and by the waterfall where he's like, you know, we can talk here because it's loud. There's a louder sound nearby, so we can talk. Like, little sounds and big sounds are okay because there's something here. That, like, you can literally, like, the fear on Marcus's face is so intense when the fish, like, floppies back into the water and it makes that little noise.
Yeah.
Like, I think the acting in this movie is just fantastic.
I do too.
Let me see what else is
going on. Like Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
I love her.
Well, okay, for this movie, she received a SAG award for that scene when she's in the bathtub and she's giving birth, which is honestly good because she deserves it.
She does.
Yeah. So.
Wait, it was shot in one take?
It was one take.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the scene where she was in the bathtub was shot in one take. And according to John Krasinski, after they finished the take, she like sat up in the bathtub, looked around and was like, okay, what's for lunch? Like she was just like instantly like, okay, what's for lunch?
I
like,
love her.
Like that's such a mood.
She is me.
Also, how fun do you think it would be for them to work together because they're actually married?
Oh.
Yeah, and like there's a bunch of family photos in the house of them with their actual kids.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
I can only think of like one other movie that it's like a one take wonder for like a shot, and it's Singing in the Rain. The title song was done in one shot. Gene Kelly, who played the lead role in that movie, he was sick when they recorded the title number of Singing in the Rain, and they did it in one shot wonder for it.
Good for him.
It's crazy knowing that fact and then going back and watching that movie.
Right? Same with this. Like, I was reading it as I was watching it, and I watched it, and I was like, dang. It's fantastic.
It is.
Yeah. So, what was I going to say? Shoot. Speaking of, like, short amounts of takes, the scene after Evelyn gives birth, when Lee and Evelyn, like, are trying to make it down to the soundproof room and the baby's crying.
Yeah.
When Lee puts the baby in the box and he, like, puts the lid on it, that's a real baby. Yeah. So they did just two takes of putting the baby in the box, and the lid was open, like, as soon as they yelled cut. Also, there were, like, holes around the whole box. Like, we only see, like, one tiny little piece of the box because the rest of the box is full of holes. So that way there's, like, oxygen so the baby can breathe, obviously.
You saw my like, one comment of, they're locking that baby up.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're giving him oxygen. Like, they have to. Otherwise, they're going to die.
True.
And the baby's going to die.
True.
And I don't think Evelyn can go through losing another kid, honestly.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole thing was totally safe for the baby. However, the cast and crew were like still way, way, way nervous. So like only 2 takes were done, and the baby was like never in the box for over 30 seconds. So like super quick. They were like, okay, lid on, pan away, done. Okay, let it out. Yeah. Which I think, yeah. And the parents were there the whole time.
Of course.
And the parents were like, it's cool, it's fine, go ahead.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. But, like, the whole cast and crew were so anxious, and the parents were like, no, it's okay, don't worry, he'll be fine. So, anyway, yeah. But anyway, back to Evelyn not being able to lose another kid. The scene when after she's given birth, and they're in the soundproof room, and she and Lee are talking about Beau, and, like, she's blaming herself for not carrying Beau the day that he died. Actually, like,
Same.
Like, if the scenes before didn't take your heart and just crush it, this one will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's kind of my little bit. Oh, the last thing. Okay, that scene that I was talking about earlier where they didn't subtitle the signing was at the very, very, very end. When Reagan is showing Evelyn all the parts that Lee had to, like, fix the cochlear implant, and, like, she was showing her all of the, like, bits and parts, and she was like, oh my gosh, like, he, like, actually was doing this because he cared, like, look at all this stuff. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about before we wrap up on this movie is there is a scene at the very, very end when Reagan is showing Evelyn all of the pieces that Lee had to be fixing her cochlear implant. And it's so just touching because she realizes, like, he actually cared and he actually was trying to make it better and trying to help her. As much as she said, like, it doesn't work, it never works.
Yeah.
He actually was trying. And it's not subtitled, but Evelyn responds, I know. And it just, like, oh, God. That's when I just start ugly crying. I was sobbing already. Now I'm ugly crying. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. I think I love that because I think had they subtitled
I do too. I think it would have ruined the moment.
I totally agree. So I think just that little like nod of her saying I know, just like So, what would you give this movie out of 10?
Where's my score? I have a 9 on my thing. I'm gonna raise it to a 10.
No way!
Yes!
Yes! Yes! I give this one a 10 out of 10 too. I love this movie so much. Maybe it's just all the little nuancy things that I know from like having done the research on it and having had to look into all this stuff. It just like, I love it so much.
Yeah, this conversation.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. I will now be conducting the rest of this episode in sign language. I'm just kidding. I'm not actually going to do it in sign language. That'd be like the worst for a podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So this next movie is Dr. Sleep, which is the sequel to The Shining. And do you want to do the synopsis, Gabby? Because I know you love this movie.
I
know you love both movies.
Yeah. So I love The Shining so much. So, okay. Struggling with alcoholism, Dan Torrance remains traumatized by the sinister events that occurred at the Overlook Hotel when he was a child. His hope for a peaceful existence soon becomes shattered when he meets Abra, a teen who shares his extrasensory gift of the shine. Together, they form an unlikely alliance to battle the True Knot, a cult whose members try to feed off the shine of innocence to become immortal. Ba-ba-bam.
And the film was directed by Mike Flanagan.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out in 2019. And it stars Ian McGregor as Dan Torrance, Rebecca Ferguson as Rose the Hat, Kylie Curran as Abra Stone, Alex Essoe?
I think so.
Essoe as Wendy Torrance, Carl Lumbly as Vic Halloran, Zan McLaren as Crow Daddy, Emily Allen Lind as Snakebite Andy, Cliff Curtis as Billy Freeman, Jocelyn Donahue as Lucy Stone, and Zachary?
It's Zachary.
Zachary?
That's how Zach spells his name.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's Zachary.
Zachary Momo as Dave Stone.
Yeah.
I know someone named Dave Stone. Like, in real life. He's one of my neighbors back home.
Oh, that's so funny.
He's my, at my high school, he's the women's softball coach.
Does he have a daughter who has the shine?
Probably not.
Okay, not gonna lie though, I 100% believe in the shine. I think it's a thing.
Okay.
I 100% believe in it. You think I'm nuts, but I think it's true. I think it's real. Not necessarily in to these extremes, but I think there are people who shine. Not necessarily have telepathic abilities. I think that's really crazy, but I think there are definitely people who can pick up on energies and I totally believe in clairvoyance.
I believe in
see
that,
ghosts.
but yeah, I don't know.
But not to the extent that you see in these films, not telepathic abilities and the ability to alter reality, not like that. But I definitely think that there is a certain type of people who do have the shine, and it's in the form of clairvoyance and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So Mike Flanagan painstakingly recreated the sets of the Overlook Hotel from blueprints acquired from Stanley Kubrick's estate.
Yeah, and Stanley Kubrick was the director of the first film of The Shining.
Yes.
Knew
that name sounded familiar. Spoiler alert for next week's episode 23. We're covering The Shining.
yeah, we're going to see that name again. So hold on to your hats. Hey, but
I had never seen either one of these movies, so Gabby made me watch The Shining, so then I was like, let's just cover it for the next episode.
Yeah, I said, if we're going to talk about Dr. Sleep, you have to watch The Shining first. You can't watch Dr. Sleep without knowing the context of The Shining, otherwise it doesn't make sense.
Yes, and then I was like, then we should just put it on the following week's episode.
I was like, yeah, I was going to put it on anyway.
True.
I was like, we can't talk about a Halloween episode without talking about The Shining.
True. It's so good. Same with with Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, come on. We can't talk about, we have to talk about Halloween.
Yeah.
And Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th.
You added Nightmare on Elm Street literally yesterday.
Because I had to. I was like, I feel like this is such an iconic classic. Literally, we have merch for Nightmare on Elm Street all over the store. We have to.
Okay.
Anyway, we cut that bit out.
When Dan returns to the room his family stayed at the Overlook, he sees the bathroom door Jack hacked open with the axe and puts his face in the axed open panel, recreating the iconic "Here's Johnny" shot. However, in The Shining, Jack was shown to have hacked both upper panels to try to get to Wendy, not just the one.
Yeah. It's really interesting. If you look at the shot, I was like, oh yeah, this is exactly not it. That made no sense. Let me try that again. When I was watching this movie, I definitely noticed that just the one panel that Jack Nicholson puts his face through and he does the whole "Here's Johnny," only that one is hacked out. But later in the movie, after he does "Here's Johnny," he hacks out the other side of the door to get to the handle because it's locked from the inside. So he gets to it to get through the handle, so that way he can get to Wendy and Danny and Shelley Duvall, who plays Wendy in the original film. She helps Danny go through go through the window of the bathroom, and he slides down on the snow.
Yes.
So.
I love Danny.
Right?
And Dan.
Yeah.
Speaking of, oh wait, we have one more fun fact. Never mind.
Yeah. But also, I have another fun fact. Do I have it in here, or did I not include it? No, I didn't include it. There is a scene, actually, when Dan is at the bar, where the guy who played Danny in the original, Danny Lloyd, he's actually in the bar scene.
Yeah.
Which, I love that.
I'm very questioning what that doesn't even make sense. I'm questioning what I wrote as my first note. Does it say that it takes place in Florida? It must have. In the very opening scene.
No, it's not in Florida. He's supposed to be in
Well, no, the opening scene with the girl in Rose. With the little girl in Rose.
Oh.
It says Florida on there, I'm pretty sure, because then I was like, it looks like northern Florida, not the swamps down south. I was like, it looks like a state park near my university. So then I looked to see if they had filmed it at the state park.
But it was in Georgia.
Yeah, it was in Georgia. But there's a lighthouse near my college that they filmed a full movie at. So I wouldn't have been surprised if, they had filmed it there.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, I was totally convinced that they had just taken the beginning, the scenes of Danny on the bike from the original
From the
Shining.
movie?
Yeah.
No, they actually recreated them.
I was so convinced.
Mm-hmm. They recreated them really well. I think they did a really good job recreating them. And I think, what's her name? I think that Alex Esso did a really good job in channeling Shelley Duvall.
I do too.
The other thing that I thought was fantastic, I don't know who it was who played Jack in like the bar when Danny was back at the Overlook. And he sat down at the bar, the same bar that Jack sits at. It's really cool. But I don't know who played Jack, because it's not Jack Nicholson. But he looks just like him.
Yeah, that creeped me out.
He looks exactly like Jack Nicholson.
I was wondering if they had done, like, you know how, like, some of the newer Marvel movies, or even, like, some of the Star Wars movies have, like, recreated.
Mm-hmm. And they, like, de-aged the actors.
Yeah.
That's what I thought too, and then I looked at it and no, it's actually an actor, and it's incredible.
I had kind of just assumed that, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I noticed something interesting. Okay. So the first time that Dan and Abra like connect through the shine, Dan's nose starts bleeding, and I
Stranger
said,
Things?
Exactly. That is exactly what I said. I was like, this seems oddly similar to another
They filmed Stranger Things. Let me start that over. They filmed Stranger Things like 3 hours from my university.
That's cool.
Like my roommate, my freshman year, like that summer, she was from Atlanta, Georgia, and she like, I remember her telling us a story about how she went to the mall one day and she saw Millie Bobby Brown and her like security team.
That's crazy.
At the mall. Yeah.
That's crazy. But yeah, I was like, is Stranger Things part of the Stephen King universe? Yes. Because it is confirmed that there are multiple Stephen King novels that are connected.
Yeah. Also, like, I don't think I ever wrote this as a note anywhere, and if I did, it's probably in next week's episode. But why do all of these, like, a lot of these horror films just take place in, like, the, like, middle of nowhere, like, Indiana or Iowa or Illinois?
Because it's spooky. There's nowhere to go. It wouldn't be spooky to have a film, like, set in, like, Burbank, California.
Yeah.
Like, okay, could you imagine a horror film that takes place, like, in Los Angeles?
Can we?
Like, it's The Purge, and The Purge is, like, freaking weird.
Yeah.
But...
Should we watch The Purge next Halloween?
Oh, absolutely not. F The Purge. No. But back to Stephen King. A bunch of his books are connected through the concept of the shine. Because Carrie has the shine.
Oh.
And Danny has the shine. And Abra has the shine. So we'll see what other books. I haven't read all of his books. I've only read Carrie and Doctor Strange and Doctor Sleep and The Shining. Next I'm reading Salem's Lot when I finish The Shining. I'm almost done with The Shining, the book. Yes. But I'm going to read Salem's Lot after that, and I will let you know. But I've heard, and the kids from It also are said to have the shine.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's also, why they see Pennywise.
Clowns. I hate.
Same. No. I'm like irrationally scared of clowns, which is why I refuse to watch that movie. I can't even watch the ad for that movie. We have merch in our store that has like the clown on it, and I have to hide it behind other stuff because I can't look at it.
Did I ever tell you my freshman year? And I remember this so specifically. I think Halloween was like a Friday or a Thursday. Like it was like in the middle of the week, so people were wearing costumes like to class. Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing this guy on his bike. And on his bike, he had, like, tied a red balloon to it, and he was dressed as Pennywise. He was just biking around campus.
I could never.
I did not like that.
No, I would.
It was 2019, so did an It movie come out that year? Because I feel like
I think so, yeah.
Did. Yeah.
I think I would just lose it. I could never. Not 2019, I think 2018.
Okay, so, like, the year later. Hold on.
I don't know. Well, because...
2017.
Oh, gosh.
It, too, came out in 2019, though.
There you go.
So the sequel came out the year...
But still.
I was a freshman and this story happened.
Yeah, I could not. I think I would just die.
Yeah. So who's your favorite character?
Dan.
Same.
I love Dan. I mean, I love Abra, too.
I love Abra as well. Has she done anything since?
I don't know.
Here, I'm copying and pasting her name into Google. Let's see what you've done. Because she looks familiar.
She does look familiar.
Oh, she's in a Disney Channel, Disney Plus series.
Oh, what series?
Secrets of... Hold on. The full name wasn't coming up. Secrets of Sulphur Springs, and she plays Harper Dunn. It came out this year. It looks like Harper Dunn is the lead from the number of episodes to the number of episodes that Harper Dunn is in.
Got it.
She was in Doctor Sleep. Yeah. And then I Did as Lily. And that was 2 years before Doctor Sleep came out. But those are the only things. How old is she? She is 14 years old. She'll be 15.
Oh my gosh! She's amazing!
Her birthday is December 10th of 2005.
Wow!
That's so weird. Sean's birthday is December 10th.
Oh, that's funny.
She's from Miami, Florida.
Oh, heck yes.
Florida gang.
Speaking of Abra, really quick, when they're in the car on the way to the woods to, like, get most of the, what are they called? The knot?
Yeah. The knot.
Is that what it is? Wait, hold on.
The knot, yeah.
True Knot.
The True Knot.
Yeah. When they're, like, on their way to the woods to, like, get the members of True Knot, and she's, like, edging them along by, like, you know, she's not when she's projecting, actually. It's after she's projecting. Yeah. When she's actually in the car on the way to the Overlook. When she just, like, drops the phone out the window. She just, yeah, like, it's like, she just, like, so she just, like, lets it go, and she's like, okay, bye, like.
Yeah, and she just drops it, like, that.
Yeah.
Like, vertical.
Yeah, and it's so weird. You're just like, what the F just happened?
I love her.
Yeah. Also, okay, one of my notes is that I don't think you'd be able to tell it was Ewan McGregor. Like, I could not tell it was him until I read that it was him.
Yeah, I agree.
And I've seen this movie
with another
before.
Character for the next movie we're going to cover, who I literally texted you and you were like, oh my gosh, that is him.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to that.
We'll get that. The other things, okay. I love when they go to the Overlook Hotel. That's my favorite moment, is when they show up and, like, we see all of, like, the little bits and boops that are left over. Especially, I love that the typewriter is still sitting there on the table.
I do
Jack's
too. That's
typewriter
really
is still sitting there. And, oh my gosh, I saw it and it gave me chills. I loved that. Like, watching this movie and seeing all the little details, just, like, as a lover of the original, it just, like, it makes me so happy. I watched the two
back to back. Literally, I spent like 4 hours watching the two back to back.
Good.
It was a time.
It's yes.
But I think I'm gonna change my favorite moment from what I have written.
Okay.
I love when Dan. I don't want to call it possessing Abra, but
possessing, yeah.
But possessing her. I love that scene.
Yeah. When he's like, ugh, I feel hungover.
Yeah.
I love that. And they're like, what the F?
He's like, what did this, like, 8-year-old child just say?
Yeah.
What did this child say?
She did a fantastic job. I bet that was so much fun for her to do.
I mean, just like Helena Bonham Carter for Emma Watson getting to play Hermione.
Yeah.
Or Daniel Radcliffe playing 7 different characters.
Right? Yeah, exactly. That kind of stuff I think is so fun.
I do too.
Yeah.
I remember reading an interview about them filming the 7 Potter scene in Harry Potter. And Daniel Radcliffe saying that he likes doing the women more than like the other guys.
Yeah. I think
so Fleur and Hermione.
Yeah.
He likes doing better than like Ron and Fred.
And Bill, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
No, Bill was the chaperone to Fleur.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So, another fun fact about like when they're back at the Overlook is that in the original movie they used real snow. They were actually in the snow. And you can tell because they're in the scenes when they're in the snow, you can like see their breath on the film. Yeah. But in this film, they're not. It's not real snow, and you can tell for the same reason. It's really interesting. And they recycled the scenes when they're going up the mountain. Those are recycled from the original. That's the same footage.
So those are the only same footage. Mm-hmm. They like those recast the kid. Scenes.
Yeah.
That terrifies me that they were able to get that casting perfect.
Right? But yeah, it was exactly, that was the only shot that was the same, and they just overlaid a night filter and put snow on the mountain. That's all they did to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite moment?
When Dan goes after Abra.
Least favorite?
Yeah, I know, I changed it.
Okay.
I don't like, okay, there's a few actually that I have that are my least favorite. I hate when Dan goes after Abra, but I love that it's like almost identical to when Jack was chasing Danny, so I like that. But I also like the part when Grandpa Flick dies terrifies me.
You see, I just hate it when Abra realizes that her dad died.
Oh yeah, that also like just totally was like, ow. And then the other thing that also made me really sad was when Dick told Danny he wouldn't be able to see him anymore.
Same. Ugh.
I was like, oh my gosh, no! But Same. I also really like that Dan becomes like Dick Halloran for Abra.
I do too. I love that.
I really like that. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So I don't remember if it's mentioned in the movie or not, but in the very beginning of the book of The Shining, it's mentioned that the boiler at the Overlook hasn't been changed in like 60 years.
I'm trying to remember if it is mentioned in the movie.
I don't think it is. I think if it is, it's very briefly mentioned. But in the book, they made like this whole big thing about it. And Danny goes to the boiler room first because he knows that cranking it and just leaving it cranked is gonna make it blow up.
Yeah.
Because I just can't remember if it's mentioned in the book or not, but it's mentioned, or in the movie or not, but it is mentioned in the book, like multiple times.
Okay, so I looked it up, and on the Shining Wikipedia, because they have their own Wikipedia
good
thing, like Wikipedia for Star Wars, but it's literally theshining.fandom.com. The boiler room is in the basement of the Overlook Hotel, playing a major role in the 1977 novel, the 1997 miniseries, and the 2016 opera?
What?
What does... Okay, but then it plays a minor role in the movie. Hold on. There's an opera!
OMG.
Hold on. So, The Shining is... Okay, let's see. It has music by Paul Moravec and Mark Campbell.
You okay?
Oh. Okay. So it has music by Paul Moravec and Mark Campbell. Mm-hmm. And the opera received its world premiere on May 7th, 2016 at the Ordway Music Theater in St. Paul, Minnesota. It was part of their New Works initiative of the Minnesota Opera. I want to see if we know any text. I do not recognize any of these names.
Cool. So, one last little thing I wanted to bring up is that I really love the parallels that they pull from this movie, from the original The Shining into this movie. Specifically, Dan having the limp while he's chasing Abra down the hotel like hallways, because in the original, Jack is chasing Danny with the same kind of limp, and it's just like you can see the spirit of the hotel like festering inside him, and it just like I love it. I absolutely love it.
So I'm still on the opera page thing.
Okay, well, I gotta get going, so we gotta get through this last one quick. So, what would you rate this film out of 10?
9.75.
I give it a 10.
Yeah. That's the first one.
I hate that one scene where they kill Grandpa Flick, Grandpa Flick dies, because I think it's terrifying when they and you see the, anyway.
You see, yeah. That's me with this next movie, which is Mother. And the synopsis is a young woman spends her days renovating the Victorian mansion that she lives in with her husband in the countryside. When a stranger knocks on the door one night, he becomes an unexpected guest in their house. Later, his wife and 2 children also arrive to make themselves welcome. Terror soon strikes when the beleaguered wife tries to figure out why her husband is so seemingly friendly and accommodating to everyone but her.
Yeah. It was directed by Darren Aronofsky. Thank you. By Darren Aronofsky, and it came out in 2017. The cast includes Jennifer Lawrence as Veronica is apparently her name, but it's never said.
Yeah, I was about to say, when is it said?
Yeah. Javier Bardem as him, Michelle Pfeiffer as woman, Ed Harris as man, Domhnall Gleeson as oldest son, Brian Gleeson as younger son, Kristen Wiig as Harold, and the rest of these aren't really as important as I thought they were.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hold on. I'm trying to, because I want to do a fun fact real quick. Okay. About Domhnall Gleeson and Brian Gleeson. Their father is Brendan Gleeson, who was Mad-Eye Moody in Harry Potter.
No way!
Yeah, so Domhnall Gleeson plays Bill Weasley, right? And General Hux. Yeah. And fun fact about Bill Weasley and Domhnall Gleeson is Bill Weasley is the one who announces that Mad-Eye Moody is dead.
That's crazy.
Domhnall Gleeson announced that his father's character was dead in part 1.
That's nuts. That's so cool.
Yes. I love him as an actor. And I, immediately, he, looked at the camera at one point. I was like, oh my god, that's him.
I had no idea until you actually texted it to me. And I was like, I knew I recognized him. I just didn't know from where.
Yeah, Harry Potter.
Yeah. And Star Wars.
And Star Wars.
Yeah.
But Harry Potter first.
Yeah. So some other fun facts are that Jennifer Lawrence got so into this character during the climactic scenes that she started hyperventilating, and she even cracked a rib during one of her scenes. Mm-hmm. And another one is that Jennifer Lawrence is barefoot the entire movie, and she was the one to help come up with this idea of her character going barefoot throughout the whole film to emphasize her character's connection to the house.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And then the last little fun fact is that this movie is actually an allegory for the story of the Bible.
Yeah.
And it's 100% confirmed by the creator and by Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get into it. There's a whole explanation by Reddit user Mountain Dew's Real Good.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a fantastic explanation. I'm going to abridge it. I'm going to speed through as much of it as I can. But
yeah. I think the reason that we didn't or you may not have recognized Domhnall and Brian, well, Domhnall Gleeson more so, is because he's British and he does a real good American accent, just like Ian McGregor in Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
Ugh,
so,
I love him.
Who's your favorite character?
Jennifer Lawrence, aka Veronica.
Yeah. I referred to her as Mother, because in the theory she's Mother Earth. So I think that's kind of what it is. I don't know. But yeah, I liked her the best. Her character is the best. Yeah. So let's blast through these favorites, and then I'll get into the theory.
Okay.
So what was your favorite moment?
So I love when we see her in the nursery being all homey and ready for the baby.
Yeah, I do too.
But I also like the Cain and Abel retelling with Domino and Brian Gleason.
Yeah, I bet you that was really intense for them to do because they're actually brothers.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine being in a film and, like, having to actually kill your sibling in this film?
No. Just like, well, I also like another Harry Potter. I have to bring up Harry Potter. Domino Gleason's in this. But, when they were filming the Weasley, or when they filmed Fred's body scene, the actor who played George, I think it was Oliver as George?
I can't remember. I get them flipped in my head.
Yeah. But, you know, he's actually having to cry over his brother who, like, was asleep. They literally had all the dead bodies just asleep.
Yeah, and, like, there's a story of them where he's, like, after the scene, they were like, okay, cut. He was just laying there, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, is he okay? And then his brother, like, nudged him, and he was like, oh, what happened? Like, he was actually asleep.
Yes, but him crying over his dead, quote-unquote, brother in that film, he talks about it, and it's like, yeah, like, because they're, like, Fred and George, they are halves of each other.
Yeah.
So it was actually like him losing his other half.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine having to act like I'm either killing or, like, my brothers are killed or something like that. I couldn't imagine.
Same.
Like, with my actual brothers.
Same with my sister.
Yeah. So, what's your least favorite moment?
Same as yours, which is when they killed the baby, aka Jesus, and they're eating his body.
Yeah.
And then beat up J-Lo?
J-Lo, yeah.
Or J-Lo?
It's symbolic of the body and blood of Christ.
I know.
Yeah. But yeah, and then they beat up Jennifer Lawrence, and I was like, why? So yeah. Most of my notes are like, who would just randomly let a stranger into their house?
Yeah, I was like, do you want to get murdered?
Yeah. And then the other one was, why do you have dishes in your medicine cabinet?
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
Also, at one point, I didn't write any notes for this one because I was watching it, like, literally, like, as we were starting to watch. But at one point, Jennifer Lawrence was, like, this really elaborate side braid, and I was like, okay, Katniss Everdeen.
Right? Okay. Her hair in this movie is so good.
Yes.
Okay, her hair was fantastic. And, what was I have a note in The Quiet Place, like.
It was notes. Her hair, Grace, and.
Yes.
Evelyn. All of their hair was amazing.
I was like, what? I was like, what is with all of the amazing hair in these movies? Right?
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm gonna, like, open up this basically what happens in the movie. And I'm gonna, like, speed through it as fast as I can.
Okay.
So, if it would let... There we go. Okay. So, this is the way to watch the movie and to think about it. Javier Bardem, he's God. Jennifer Lawrence is Mother Earth. As the movie starts, she wakes up. She's like, yo, where's God at? She goes outside, and there's nothing. Like, as far as you can see, nothing. No people, no houses, nothing. Just grass. And the Earth is pre-human civilization. So, he pops up behind her, and she's like, what are you up to? And he's like, nothing. Just working on the same thing, nothing. But you know he's up to something. By the way, like, in the movie, he's a poet, but we'll get there. So, she's like, okay, I'm just gonna keep working on the house, which is representational of, like, physical Earth and, like, is an extension of Mother Earth herself. So then all of a sudden, boom, some dude arrives. This is Adam. Mother Earth is like, yo, WTF, God, this is ours. Like, we built this. You can't just bring somebody else here. So, and then God is like, nah, it's cool. It's fine. And she's like, okay, whatever. And all of a sudden, God and Adam are like buddy. God's like, yo, Adam, I made you. And Adam's like, bro, yo, that's dope. And he's like, yo, what's this crystal thing? And God's like, oh, you can't touch that. That's mine. I made that from the last time I destroyed everything, and it's the forbidden fruit. So, a little while later, Mother Earth walks in on Adam, puking in the toilet after a night of drinks with God, and she sees he's got this, like, nasty wound right on his ribs. And that is the rib that God used to create Eve. Oh. So, sure enough, next day, boom, Eve is there. Oh, by the way, that's the thing that was in the toilet. It was the rib of Adam.
Oh! Yeah. I was so confused.
I was too. That's how I stumbled across this. So, it was the rib of Adam. So, next day, sure enough, Eve is there. Boom. Mother Earth is like, yo, there's another one. And God's like, yeah, it's cool. It's fine. Just chill out. And Eve, she's, in this movie, she's a conniving little bitch, you know? She's like, oh, this is a nice place. Show me around. Like, she's like, psych, I'm going to go up in here and, like, ruin everything. Mm-hmm. I love Michelle Pfeiffer as an actress. I hated her in this movie. I was like, oh my gosh, what a bitch. Same. Okay, so she's like, I'm going to go up into this office. And Mother Earth is like, you can't go in there. That's the Garden of Eden. So Mother Earth is like, yo, God, I told you I didn't like these people. I want them out of here. This is mine. And God's like, no, it's fine. I'm telling you, it's cool. They have nowhere else to go. Then one day, smash. You hear some glass break. And what do you know? It's the crystal. And who broke it? Adam and Eve, of course. And God runs in, is like, WTF, I told you not to touch it. And everyone, like, GTFO, like, he's so mad. And then he boards up the room, thus banishing Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden, right? So they're all about to leave. And then all of a sudden, their sons come busting in the house. And that's Cain and Abel. Yeah. So then Mother Earth is like, WTF, they have kids too? Did you know about this? And God's like, it's cool. I'll take care of it. Don't worry. And Cain is like, yo, Dad, WTF, you're leaving everything in your will to Abel? What about me? And Abel's like, yo, suck it. I'm Dad's favorite. And Cain's like, shut up. I'm going to kill you. And Abel's like, nah. So God comes in and he's like, Cain, you need to chill TF out, bro. And Cain's like, okay, psych, I'm going to kill him. And he bashes his brother's head in with a doorknob. Yeah. In the Bible story, it's a rock, right? It's a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It is a rock. But it's also like they both give, like, sacrifices to God, and God prefers Abel's over Cain. Yeah. And that's jealous.
It's loosely.
I know.
It's like, well, not, it's pretty nose on, but like not exactly the same, but close enough, you know? So then Cain, he just like disappears and he turns into like a little wilderness man. And God and Adam and Eve take Abel to the hospital. Then God and Adam and Eve come back and they tell Mother Earth that Abel's dead and that all these other people show up out of nowhere to mourn his death. They start like tearing the place up. They're breaking things left and right. And then there's this one sink in the kitchen that they keep sitting on. And Mother Earth is like, you guys better get off that, I swear. And they're like, nah. And then the sink breaks. Water starts going everywhere. Mother Earth is like, yo, everybody get out of my house. And that's the Great Flood. Everybody's gone. So then God and Mother Earth start arguing, and she's like, why do you keep allowing people in our house? And he's like, this is my house too, and these are my fans, and they love my poetry. Or like, these are my disciples, the beginnings of like Christianity, and they love me, and they worship me, and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh yeah, do you want to create some ish? How about you F me for once? That's her line. That's what she says. She goes, why can't you F me? And he's like, meh. And then they do it, and it's this whole scene, and yeah, that's really awkward. So then they start making out on the stairs. Cut to them the next scene. They're in bed. She's like, I'm pregnant. And he's like, what do you mean? We just finished. What do you mean you're pregnant? And she's like, I know, I'm pregnant. So he's like, cool, we're going to have this baby. And this is the virgin birth of Jesus. Yeah. Yeah. So he's all happy, and she's like, cool. And so she starts cleaning Ish up, and like the apocalypse is getting cleaned up. That's foreshadowing. Because she says, I'm going to clean up the apocalypse in the kitchen. Total foreshadowing. Yeah. So now, fast forward 9 months later, Mother Earth is pregnant, like very pregnant, and she's nesting for the baby, and she's having like a good time, and the house looks pretty and nice. And while she's doing that, God is like, man, I'm really feeling inspired. And he starts writing again. And she's like, whatever, I'm not going to bother you, let you write. And he is like, I'm done. And she reads it, and she's like, it's beautiful. Then his publisher shows up, which is Kristen Wiig, and Mother Earth is like, what the F is she doing here? And God's like, she read it and she loves it. And Mother Earth is like, how did she read it already? We don't even have internet, but like, it's fine. That's the author's little like add to that. I thought that was funny. Yeah. Anyway, But this is where...
This is so long.
It's long. So this is where the ish hits the fan. So now all these people are showing up at the house and they're like, God, we love you. We idolize you. We just want you to touch us. This is like the start of like most religions and Christianity and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So then Mother Earth is like, what the heck? No, don't let them in here. But God's like, no, they're my fans. I got to share this with them. But these fans, they're like nuts and they're eating Mother Earth's food and they're ripping the house apart and taking anything that may have been touched by God. And she's still like, but God is like, I love these people and they love me and it feels awesome. And Mother Earth is like, what the heck? I'm pregnant with your kid. Is that not enough for you? So then these people start like getting nuts. Like they're like killing each other and Kristen Wiig is like shooting people. Like that was nuts. Yeah. So, and then she says, is it hot in here or is it just me? I think it's because she was originally an angel and she's fallen into hell and she's getting hot because she's falling into... Anyway. So then, like, things are just totally nuts. And then, while all of the craziness is going on, there's, like, riots and there's all this stuff going on in their house. Mother Earth is going into labor. So she's, like, trying to find God, but she keeps running into, like, more and more crazy-ish. So finally he finds her and he's like, okay, let's go, like, somewhere safe. And he takes her into the Garden of Eden, breaks down the barricades, and they go inside and they're in the Garden of Eden. So she's giving birth and she's like screaming because she's giving birth. And then boom, baby. God's like, it's a boy because it's Jesus. So then like everything goes quiet and Mother Earth is like, why is it so quiet out there? And God's like, they just want to see the baby. This is a gift. And they brought us gifts and fruits and blankets and stuff. And then God is like, let me hold him. And Mother Earth is like, absolutely not, because duh. I lost my place. Okay. She's like, no, I'm not gonna let you hold him. I know what you're up to. And God's like, that's my kid. Let me hold him. And Mother Earth is like, no, leave me alone. So then they get into this like epic stare down for like 3 days, which is like, okay, she's just like sitting there holding the baby. How does the baby not like pee or poop or anything?
Exactly.
Like what? Okay. But anyway. So finally, she loses and she falls asleep and God steals the baby and takes it out to the disciples. And God is holding Jesus up to the crowd and the crowd is going nuts. And then they start passing the baby around and the baby is like unleashing like 3 days worth of pee on all of the disciples, which I think is like supposed to be like the origins of like baptisms. Maybe. It's supposed to be symbolic of maybe baptisms. I don't know. Anyway, so he's being passed around and they're like loving this. And then somebody grabs him and his neck snaps. So this is like when Jesus was crucified, right?
Yeah.
So then all of the disciples are like, oh, he died for us. Like we need to like, oh shoot. Oh yeah. Mother Earth like goes nuts. She's like, you just killed my baby. And
they start eating the child.
Yeah. They start eating the child. And God is like, no, we have to forgive them. And she's like, no. So she runs into the basement, grabs a lighter and an axe, and she goes to this big ass tank of oil, hits it with the axe, oil goes everywhere, she blows up the house. This is the apocalypse. This is like the fires. Right?
Yeah.
So then God comes running down and he's like, don't do it. These are my people. I love you. And she's like, you don't love me. You just love that I keep loving you. So house sets on fire, apocalypse. So then everybody inside the house dies. House explodes. You see Mother Earth's literally burning as she like sheds a tear in this like most amazing like filmmaking. Like it's so cool. This shot is amazing. So she's like barely breathing. So God picks her up and takes her back upstairs and he's like fine and he's wearing white, which is like, okay, yeah, it's, you know.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm dead. And he's like, I need one more thing from you. And she's like, seriously? I give and I give and I give and now you need more? Really? And I'm dying, but fine. What do you want? And he's like, I need your heart. And she's like, okay, I guess I don't need it. So he digs into her chest, which is really gross. In this really nasty scene. It reminded me of
Once Upon a Time. Because every time they go to kill someone, they like rip into their chest, pull out the heart, and just squeeze it in Once Upon a Time.
It was really gross.
So it's really bad CGI heart. It's not like as realistic as that.
That's good.
Yeah.
So he pulls her heart out.
It's a children's show.
Yeah. And it's like black and he like crumbles it away and she's died. She turns into like this husk. And so she dies. And he squeezes the heart and he finds the crystal thing. That was the forbidden fruit, right? So the next scene Like, the house is beautiful again, and Mother Earth wakes up, and she's like, yo, where's God at? But it's not Jennifer Lawrence, which is the end of the movie. So, basically symbolizing that he can just start everything all over again, and it doesn't matter. Also, in this movie, we also see all of the plagues of Egypt. They all show up in the house.
I noticed that.
Yeah, because you have the blood from Cain killing Abel. Yeah. You have the flies that were in the kitchen, the frogs that were in the basement, fire, darkness, and then the eventual death of the mother's firstborn child.
Yes.
Which is all of the plagues of Egypt. So, I thought it was really interesting looking at it.
I think it's interesting through that lens.
Yeah. Just as like a horror movie, it's yikes. And I think that's why I gave it the score I did. Yeah, and I think that's why the critics reviewed it the way they did. I think had they explained it or like marketed it as like as a modern retelling of the story of the Bible, I think that would have been a little bit different. However,
I think it would have been way well received.
Yeah. However, I think they wanted people to figure it out on their own.
True.
So, and you know, if they're in the like realm of marketing it as, oh, it's a retelling of the Bible, then that's all anybody's going to focus on. They're going to be like, oh, well, this isn't accurate because Cain and Abel gave sacrifices to God, right? It's not exactly right, you know? So then it's under a different lens that would be criticized, but you know, I really liked it. I thought it was cool. Definitely not going to rewatch it again within the next probably year.
Yeah, I was texting Sean afterwards and I was like, I don't know if I like this movie.
Yeah, I think it was interesting. I don't think I'm going to rewatch it.
Yeah. So what would you rate the film?
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah. I was teetering. I was like, 7, 8. I gave it an 8.
You see, I was teetering between 6 and 7.
Yeah, I gave it an 8 just because I like all the symbolism in it. I really think it's really cool, and I like how they include all these little details.
That part. That's why it didn't get a 6. But I didn't like it as a spooky film.
No.
I liked it as a retelling of the Bible story.
Yeah, I just cannot get over the scene when they're literally eating the body of Christ.
Yeah.
Like, that was the one scene I could not watch. I actually had to turn away. Like, my stomach was turning. I was like, that is disgusting.
Same.
So, but yeah, that concludes this episode. Shall we see them in the outro?
We shall. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Fan Fatales. Gabby, would you like to tell our lovely audience what we will be chatting about next week?
Next week, we're going to be continuing our month-long Halloween Spooktacular.
And finishing.
And finishing, yes. Next week is our last week of our Halloween Spooktacular. And we're going to be discussing some of the most iconic and classic horror movies.
Yes. And remember to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. We are on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And subscribe to us on YouTube.
Please leave us a review and comment down below to tell us what you thought of the show. And remember to follow us on Instagram at FanFatalesPod for the latest updates and to possibly be featured in a future episode. Now, Emma, where can the people find you on social media?
So my Instagram and TikTok are both at SnippyEmma, SnippyEmma. What about you, Gabs?
I'm at Gaby Gent on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. That's GABYJENT.
And our music is by our amazing friend, Maddie Macon.
And our editing is by the amazing and wonderful Kara Linsmeyer.
As always, thank you for tuning in. Bye!
The views expressed in this episode are expressly our own and